find community with other founders. Like, I came from a big tech background, and the worlds of big tech versus startups can be very separate. And if you are coming from big tech and making the jump to start your own company, there's a chance that you don't really have an existing startup network, and you don't know a lot of other founders or people that are in the startup early stage company space. And so a piece of advice would be to really invest in building that community.
Welcome to Founder Fridays, where we sit down with builders who've been in the trenches to talk shop, product, design, and the real lessons that no one puts on a slide deck. I'm Atulya Pathak, and I lead our revenue transformation team here at Notion. Our aim is to improve and automate our revenue processes along with our quote-to-cash processes. Today, I'm joined by Justin Meretab, co-founder and CEO of Layer Financial. Layer provides embedded accounting software and bookkeeping services to software platforms that serve small and medium-sized businesses. This enables small business owners to manage their accounting right within their point of sale or other software they use to run their business day to day. Justin, I'm so excited to chat with you. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Let's get right into it. Love to learn about Layer. Before Layer, I did see that you spent a few years at Square. What were some of the problems in SMB accounting software that you saw that weren't being solved?
Yeah, absolutely. So throughout my time at Square, I worked on what became our banking products, tools that helped our customers manage their money after they had collected a payment using Square. And so learned a lot about how small businesses manage their cash flow and where things were working well and better tools were coming out, like better banking products or better lending products. And then also saw where there were a bunch of gaps and just these consistent pain points that kept coming up throughout my time there. And accounting was one of the biggest ones, where we would talk to customers and they would come to us saying, "Hey, I love Square, like love your suite of products, love that you make it easy to accept a payment. Could I just do my accounting and bookkeeping here also?" Like, they expressed frustration with the tools they were using, often QuickBooks or other legacy accounting software. They shared how frustrated they were with a bookkeeper if they were paying someone to manage the process for them, and shared how they didn't really feel like they were getting value for this. So that kept coming up over and over again, and realized there was an opportunity here. And accounting was an area where there was still pretty significant customer pain points.
And it's constantly a pain point no matter what size of
Yeah.
business you are. So definitely feel that pain. So I guess just through that experience, you realize that, hey, there really is a market opportunity here. Can you talk to me about the early days and just getting started? How did you meet your co-founder? How did you just come up with this idea and building it yourselves versus trying to find someone that you can join it and
Yeah, absolutely. So saw this need at Square where customers were asking us to do this. And then I started talking to other companies that are like Square, that serve small businesses in various different industries. And as I was having conversations with builders at those companies, I realized they were hearing the exact same customer pain points that we were at Square. Like, they would love one central place and to not have to use QuickBooks or other external tools anymore. But then the other pain point I heard from the platforms was they'd love to offer this functionality, but it would be too hard for them to build internally. Like, accounting is a huge build. It's very complicated, requires domain expertise. Providing bookkeeping services is another level of complexity on top of that. And I realized that this dynamic, there was the demand from the end customers and the complexity to build, that there was an opportunity to build a platform company. And so we could basically build Stripe for accounting, where a platform that would enable these different small business software platforms to offer accounting and bookkeeping themselves without needing to build it internally. And they could just get a white label product experience that they embed within their product and offer, but without dealing with all the underlying complexity. If you're a small business software platform, you want to focus on the unique needs of your industry. You don't want to focus on reinventing the wheel or dealing with things that aren't your core competency, like learning like how to build a general ledger and complex accounting functionality. And you see this with other types of software, whether it's like payroll or embedded banking. There's providers that these companies can use to drop in a complete product experience and not need to build it themselves.
that makes a lot of sense. And then as you've been building and seeing this journey, are the things that you've found that were interesting and then you've sort of incorporated into the product itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one of the most surprising things consistently is just the power of verticalization and tailoring the product to the unique needs of each industry. And so we work with software platforms for coffee shops and software platforms for medical spas and tons of other industries. And the core of accounting is all the same, but there's unique industry nuances in terms of the type of expenses that those businesses have, or how they think about the revenue flowing in, and what are they invoicing their customers, or do they use a point of sale? And there's a huge opportunity, we realize, to tweak accounting to serve those industry specific nuances. Whereas traditional accounting software, it's horizontal. It's one size fits all. And so you can actually give customers a better experience when you're giving them accounting software and bookkeeping that is designed for their industry.
I'd love to learn a little bit about the company's growth and the funding that you've
Yeah.
raised already. I know you've raised a 2.3 million seed round in the past, and I'm just wondering, how did that initial pre-seed money and that initial raise, how did that start the journey, or how did that kick off the journey? And I guess, what was the investor story at that point?
Really, the coming into the pre-seed raise, we had already seen strong demand here, and we had actually already signed our first platform customer and had a strong pipeline of additional platforms that was really proving out the fact that, okay, these small business software platforms, these vertical SaaS platforms, they want to offer accounting and bookkeeping. There is a demand for this, and if you can build this product, folks will use it. And then coming out of the pre-seed raise, the focus really shifted to, great, we've proven that there's that initial market demand. Can we go build a product that actually fully fills those needs and ultimately allows these vertical SaaS platforms to launch their own accounting products that replace the legacy solutions that their small business customers are using? And fortunately, the way things have gone, we've proven that out as well, and have been able to move over many SMBs from legacy tools into these more embedded, verticalized accounting experiences.
And earlier this year, you raised 6.6 million through, or it was a seed round led by Emergence Capital. Congratulations on that raise.
Thank you.
I guess what clicked with them, and how did you approach that whole process?
Yeah, I think what clicked was kind of coming out of the pre-seed and what we wanted to accomplish coming out of that. Like, can we build a robust accounting platform that actually has the functionality of a QuickBooks, and that a small business owner could move from using a legacy tool like a QuickBooks or Xero and instead use Layer through one of our partners? And we made a ton of progress there. We've really built out a sizable chunk of that functionality, and many businesses across different industries are now able to migrate wholesale off of other accounting tools onto Layer through our partners and get the exact same experience, and an even simpler experience that serves all of their needs. And so I think that ability to, coupled with the fact that we've just continued to see more demand from these different SMB software platforms, vertical SaaS, like horizontal point of sale systems, neobanks, I think got the folks at Emergence excited about what we were seeing in the market.
That's awesome. And how are you deploying that capital now that you've gone through the raise? I guess the next step is, how do you spend that in the
Yeah. So investing in engineering, there is a lot we want to build to just continue expanding our accounting platform, our core accounting feature set that allows us to serve new industries that have additional accounting functionality needs and workflows. And whether that is things like inventory management for retailers or e-commerce businesses, or project accounting for field services in the trades, there's additional on top of our core accounting platform, which is works well for many business owners. There's additional features that will let us target additional new industries. Another key area of investment is related to our bookkeeping service. So we provide a full bookkeeping service on top of our accounting software, augmented by AI, that will actually do the books for a small business owner end to end. So not just replacing a tool like QuickBooks, but ultimately replacing the work that would be done by their bookkeeper and doing it faster and more efficiently. And so our other key area of engineering investment is that functionality and that service, allowing us to make it even better, more automated, faster, more accurate for the end small business owner.
I guess, and you mentioned AI. How did AI just change your story? I think when Lyra was founded, AI was sort of in its infancy. It's still being used, but not to the level that it's being used today. How did that shape the product growth from when you founded it?
Yeah, a lot of accounting and bookkeeping workflows require interpreting unstructured data. and you're a small business owner, you have many different data inputs that come together to give you the picture of your finances. And fundamentally, what accounting does is it's about unifying all those different pieces of financial activity, whether that's your bank accounts, your loans, you bought a truck for the business, and cleaning up that data, unifying it so you can turn that into a P&L. And AI makes that dealing with that unstructured data much easier and organizing it. So whether that is digitizing documents and turning that into structured data that can be reflected in the finances, maybe OCRing a loan document, or categorizing bank transactions more accurately and with the nuance of different industry verticals. AI automates a lot of that. And then I think there's continue to be exciting opportunities going forward in AI to do things like summarize data. And small business owners, they often want to understand, they want the core takeaways from their data and insights summarized that they can act on versus needing to do a bunch of investigation themselves and diving into a bunch of reporting and tables.
That's pretty incredible because I mean these are folks that are so skilled in a certain area. They don't necessarily know how to glean on some of the things that, hey, where can I drive growth in my business? Where am I losing money? What should I change? So that's pretty incredible. Is there and I know you the AI powered software that that Layer has is billed as being 3 times faster, 40 times more accurate. How do those gains really show up in terms of the day to day?
Yeah, a lot of the improvements come first from the fact that we are embedded within these SMB software companies. And a lot of these SMB software platforms see a lot of the business's data, usually the revenue data. So if it's a point of sale system for, let's say, a restaurant that's checking out customers, they see all of those revenue sales for the small business coming through. Or if it's an invoicing platform for a plumbing that plumbers use, they'll see all of those types of businesses' revenue. And so historically, accounting software was totally separate from these systems. So in order to do the accounting, you had to get all that revenue data from these systems into the accounting software. And that was through a manual export, or maybe there's an API integration, but it doesn't work that well. And that's where you lost a lot of the accuracy of the accounting because those horizontal accounting tools, they're not built to take in the industry specific revenue data. And if you use certain products within these end platforms, maybe the accounting software doesn't know how to interpret that. And so if you start offering gift cards, that doesn't flow into your accounting. And that's where you get breakage on these edge cases. When you embed directly into those platforms, the point of sale systems, the invoicing platforms, the CRMs, we're directly connected to that data. And so we can build a really tight integration with the revenue data and make sure that every single way that the business accepts revenue is reflected perfectly in the accounting. And it just works out of the box for that industry.
What are some of the challenges that you've seen in taking that in? So I'm sure there's with different industries that you're working with, there's things that you've never seen before. How are you trying to parse through all of that and try to figure out what the right way to incorporate that into the software is?
It's been a key piece of how we think about designing our platform, and really an area where we've put a lot of product focus. It's like, how do you design an API that works well for pulling in revenue data from all of these different industries? And we spend a lot of time thinking about what is the common surface area that, whether you're working with a platform for plumbers or truck drivers or retailers, like how do we model that through an API that's easy for those platforms to integrate with? And we think we've landed in a very good place. And that's really a core competency and muscle we've had to build of, regardless of what industry one of our partner software platforms is coming to us from, we give them an easy API integration experience that works for all the unique ways that they collect revenue data. And then the other thing is, over time, we've just started to see some patterns. There's service heavy businesses that are very invoicing focused, or restaurants and retailers that center around the point of sale. Others that are more appointment booking, like hair salons and barbershops. And so we also see common patterns, and that helps us, design our product as well.
We're all learning AI and the best way to use it. How is the training for these SMBs who may not be in front of a computer every day or working in the same way that we are? How are they picking this up, and do you provide any training tools for them?
Yeah, we're really using AI behind the scenes. And so we want to provide clear product experiences, easy to understand product experience for our customers that don't require them to understand the latest ways to interact with AI and feel intuitive. So a lot of times on the accounting software side, we've really designed it to be as simple as possible to work like tools they might have used in the past, like a QuickBooks, and also just be intuitive and require the minimum number of interactions to do something, whether that is confirming what category you spent to, for a marketing expense or paying your employees. And then on the bookkeeping side, we really it's human-like interface. So it's all we interact with the customers the way that a typical bookkeeper would through text-based communication, through live calls, and easy to understand to-do lists. So it doesn't really require any change of behavior on the end user, the small business owner that's using us through one of our customer platforms. It doesn't really require any new understanding or knowledge. They can use the software in a familiar way that is similar to any tools or services they've used, any accounting tools or services they've used in the past.
So I'd love to just learn a little bit more about Layer the company. What tools do you use on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, we use a variety of things. So we are definitely a very Slack heavy company. We have shared Slack Connect channels with many of our partners and have quick back and forth communication to support them as they grow their accounting and bookkeeping businesses. We also, it's a lot of live communication as well. So we're in Google Meet very often. We use Notion as well to collaborate with our customer platforms. So the first step to using Layer is to align on this shared integration and how our customer is going to integrate with our APIs to pass all their revenue data in and launch this accounting product. And so Notion documents allow us to jointly collaborate with our partners through a shared canvas, talking about integration specs, talking about product experiences, shared timelines. We'll use, table-based timelines, and that's been incredibly helpful to just have those shared sources of truth. The other thing is Notion was our first career page and the core of how we brought on early candidates into Layer, and really allowed us to build the early team and build a presence publicly that got early candidates excited about what we were building, as well as the roles that we were hiring for at the time.
So we're almost at the end. I wanted to ask, is there any advice that you have for founders as they're starting their journey or they're discovering their journeys?
One piece of advice that was given to me is to really find community with other founders. Like, I came from a big tech background, and the worlds of big tech for startups can be very separate. And if you are coming from big tech and making the jump to start your own company, there's a chance that you don't really have an existing startup network and you don't know a lot of other founders or people that are in the startup early stage company space. And so a piece of advice would be to really invest in building that community. Go to events, leverage your network to try to get connected with second degree friends of friends who are building in that space, because advice from fellow founders is so incredibly helpful. A lot of folks have encountered similar problems and challenges to what you've seen, and the world is so small that there's a bunch of serendipitous connections, whether that's early employees or partnership opportunities, that building that network over time is incredibly valuable.
If you had to start Layer again today, is there anything that you would do differently?
I think we would really talk to even more customers as soon as possible and always be having conversations with as many end customers as early on as possible, even before we had any type of product to sell. And we did some of this, but I think it's an ongoing muscle, and you can really never have too much customer insight and feedback. And it's just always good to work that in to your day to day. And I think it would allow us to see patterns in the market, understand customer needs even faster than we did from our early research, and just not hesitating to, just because you haven't built your product yet doesn't mean you can't go out and start having customer conversations immediately.
What's one lesson that's shaped how you build and how you lead this company?
One piece of advice I got years ago was this idea of always asking yourself, are you working in the machine or on the machine? And this idea being, are you executing and being reactive to what is coming to you and just navigating that as it comes up, whether that's like responding to emails or people ping you on Slack or whatever your calendar has for you that day, I think it's easy to fall in the pattern of going through the motions and letting those channels and dictate how you spend your time. And basically, you have to create your own cadences for stepping back and working on the machine holistically and thinking, how are you spending your time? How do you structure your day and the way that you work to accomplish uh, what you want to accomplish long term can sometimes be even more important than just executing work well. And I think the best founders and operators in general are really good at always stepping back and reconfiguring how they spend their time, intentionally designing how they like their days to make sure that they are always uh, accomplishing those longer term goals and not losing the forest for the trees.
Well, Justin, it was so great chatting with you today. I just as speaking through, there were so many takeaways, but three that really stood out to me were just understanding where there's a market or what the market needs. Just really learning, and you learned that through your experience at Square, what was missing, and you really attacked that. So it's incredible to see that. Um, Also, talk to customers. There's you can build whatever you need to, but if you don't understand what your customers need, you're really not going to be able to fit their needs and really to grow the business. And then also, I mean, this one is huge. Community. You're never alone. There's so many people that are experiencing so many things that you're experiencing, and they probably have great advice for you. There could be some lessons that can be learned and things that you can talk about and you can share your experiences as well. Was there anything else that you wanted to add or anything else that you would like to say?
No, I think you summed it up well.
Awesome. Well, that was so much fun. Really appreciate all the time you took. I really wish you the best of luck and look forward to seeing Later Financial all over the place on all the billboards here.
Thanks so much, Atulya. Really appreciate it.